For privacy reasons, names and places have been changed. This story is inspired by true events.
On the evening of May 12, 2015, 16-year-old Sloan Ibarra left her family's camp for a sunset run in a remote side canyon off the Colorado River, northern Arizona. She never returned. Despite an extensive search across the rugged terrain, involving countless volunteers and specialist teams, Sloan vanished without a trace, leaving behind only unanswered questions and a growing sense of dread. For 7 agonizing years, her family lived with the crushing burden of not knowing, clinging to slivers of hope and battling relentless despair. Then, on May 25, 2022, after monsoon rains reshaped the canyon floor, a harrowing discovery was made. Human remains, grotesquely woven into a mass of cholla spines, with reflective tape covering the eyes. This is the complete investigation into what happened to Sloan Ibarra. Before we continue, let us know where you're watching from, and if you enjoy this content, consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Now let's continue. The vast, rugged expanse of a side canyon, branching from the mighty Colorado River in northern Arizona, glowed with the last embers of daylight. Towering sandstone walls, sculpted by millennia of wind and water, cast long, deepening shadows across the canyon floor, transforming the landscape into a canvas of ochre, crimson, and fading violet. It was a place of breathtaking, isolated beauty, where the silence was profound, broken only by the whisper of the wind and the distant rush of the river. 16-year-old Sloan Ibarra, a promising track athlete with a disciplined routine, found herself in this remote setting. Her family was camped near the river, and Sloan, accustomed to rigorous training, often used the canyon trails for her daily runs. On that particular evening, as the sun dipped below the canyon rim, casting the world in a final dramatic light, Sloan embarked on her usual sunset run. She was a picture of vitality, her athleticism a stark contrast to the ancient, unyielding environment she navigated. As the last vestiges of twilight faded and the stars began to emerge in the inky desert sky, Sloan Ibarra did not return to camp. What began as mild concern among her family and the small group of fellow campers quickly escalated into a growing alarm. Calls for her name echoed fruitlessly against the canyon walls. The initial frantic search efforts undertaken by those present with flashlights and mounting dread yielded nothing. The familiar trails, the rock formations, the scattered vegetation, all were meticulously scanned, but Sloan was nowhere to be found. The night deepened, bringing with it a chilling void. Sloan Ibarra had seemingly vanished without a trace into the immense, unforgiving Arizona wilderness. The vastness of the canyon, once a place of serene beauty, now loomed as an impenetrable, silent witness. What happened to Sloan Ibarra in the desolate Arizona canyon remained an immediate, terrifying question, inaugurating a mystery that would haunt the region for years. The first light of dawn brought with it the coordinated response of law enforcement and specialized search and rescue teams. The remote nature of the side canyon off the Colorado River necessitated a rapid, large-scale deployment, with a dedicated river ranger immediately joining the ground efforts. Teams fanned out across the rugged terrain, meticulously combing every wash, boulder field, and crevice within a widening radius from the camp. The search parameters expanded daily, encompassing vast stretches of the canyon floor, the treacherous riverbanks, and the steep, unforgiving slopes, all under the relentless Arizona sun. The environment itself became an adversary: treacherous footing, extreme temperatures that fluctuated wildly between day and night, and the sheer, overwhelming vastness of the Colorado River system presented formidable challenges. Helicopters conducted aerial surveys, their rotors echoing against ancient rock, while K-9 units worked tirelessly on the ground. But the immense landscape offered no immediate answers. Days bled into weeks, and despite the unprecedented scale of the operation, the search yielded absolutely nothing. There were no footprints out of place, no signs of struggle, no discarded personal items, no broken branches, no single piece of physical evidence to suggest Sloan Ibarra had ever been there, let alone what might have befallen her. It was as if she had simply vanished into thin air. The initial urgency gradually gave way to a growing despair. For Sloan's family, Each passing day without a trace intensified their agony, their hope slowly eroding into a gnawing uncertainty. The community grappled with the inexplicable vanishing of a local girl, a promising athlete whose presence had been so vibrant. Theories began to emerge in the vacuum of facts: an accidental fall into a hidden crevice, an encounter with one of the canyon's dangerous predators, or the more sinister possibility of abduction. Yet, without a single shred of evidence to support any of these conjectures, they remained mere speculation, adding only to the chilling mystery. The Arizona wilderness, vast and indifferent, held its secrets close. The initial intensity of the search, a monumental effort spanning weeks across the unforgiving Arizona landscape, eventually began to wane. Days bled into months, and then, inexorably, into years. The vastness of the Colorado River system and its surrounding canyons, once the focus of an urgent, desperate search, settled back into its ancient silence. Sloan Ibarra's disappearance transitioned from an active investigation to a cold file, becoming a haunting local legend whispered among those who traversed the remote wilderness. For Sloan's family, the passage of time brought no solace, only an intensifying anguish. The agonizing uncertainty of her fate became a constant companion, a void that no explanation could fill. Living with the absence, the questions, and the complete lack of answers inflicted a pain that never dulled. Without a body, without a single piece of evidence, they were trapped in an endless cycle of grief and frustration, unable to find the closure that even the most tragic circumstances often provide. The community, too, grappled with the inexplicable, the vibrant memory of the promising young athlete, slowly overshadowed by the enduring mystery of her vanishing. From an investigative standpoint, every conceivable lead had been exhausted. Detectives revisited witness statements, re-examined the initial search parameters, and consulted with various experts, yet each avenue led to the same dead end. Without new information, without a tangible clue to pursue, the active investigation was officially suspended. The case, however, remained open, a file gathering dust but never truly closed, awaiting the improbable breakthrough that might one day pierce the veil of silence. The Colorado River, majestic and indifferent, continued its relentless flow, and the side canyon with its towering walls and hidden crevices held its secrets close, having seemingly swallowed Sloan Ibarra whole. 7 years had passed since Sloan Ibarra vanished into the Arizona wilderness. 7 years of unanswered questions, of a family's enduring agony, and of a cold case file that seemed destined to remain unsolved. The canyon had kept its secrets with unwavering resolve, its ancient silence a testament to the passage of time and the fading hope of resolution. But the unforgiving landscape, which had swallowed Sloan whole, would eventually yield a grim answer, one far more disturbing than any initial theory. In the late spring, a group of hikers traversing a remote section of the same side canyon, several miles deeper than Sloan's original campsite, made a horrifying discovery. Tucked away in a secluded alcove, obscured by a dense thicket of desert flora, lay what appeared to be human remains. The find was immediately reported, triggering a new wave of law enforcement activity in the long-dormant case. Forensic teams, including anthropologists and specialized investigators, descended upon the scene. What they uncovered was a macabre spectacle, unlike anything many had witnessed. The skeletal remains, later confirmed through dental records to be those of Sloan Ibarra, were not merely scattered or concealed. Her body had been meticulously and disturbingly interlaced within a dense tumble of dead cholla cactus, the sharp, barbed spines forming a grotesque shroud. The eyes, remarkably, were covered with strips of reflective tape, an inexplicable detail that added a layer of chilling intentionality to the scene. Sloan Ibarra had not simply succumbed to the wilderness, she had been deliberately placed. Her final resting spot, a horrifying, unnatural tableau woven into a mass of cactus spines. For Sloan's family, the confirmation of identity brought a profound, devastating form of closure. The agonizing uncertainty of 7 years was replaced by a gruesome truth, a reality far more brutal than the mere hope of her survival. Their daughter was gone, and her discovery raised a new, horrifying set of questions about her final moments. Amidst the painstaking process of recovering the remains and documenting the bizarre scene, investigators located a crucial piece of evidence. Snagged on the tenacious spines of the cholla, near where Sloane's body had been discovered, was a single, small strip of a rescue blanket. It was a tangible clue, the first physical link in 7 years, offering a glimmer of hope that the cold case might finally be reignited, not as a missing person, but as a murder investigation. The grim discovery of Sloane Ibarra's remains, 7 years after her inexplicable disappearance, immediately reignited a cold case that had haunted the Arizona canyons. What began as a missing person investigation, shrouded in the vast mystery of the wilderness, transformed into a full-scale homicide inquiry. The urgency was palpable, fueled by the macabre nature of the scene and the long-delayed justice for Sloane and her family. Forensic teams, now operating with a fresh perspective and the undeniable presence of a crime scene, meticulously processed the secluded alcove. Every detail of Sloane's final resting place was documented, photographed, and analyzed. Investigators grappled with the chilling presentation of her body, not merely hidden, but deliberately interlaced within the dense, barbed cholla cactus. The question of how a human body could be so painstakingly woven into such a painful protective mass became central to their efforts. Equally disturbing was the reflective tape covering her eyes, a detail that spoke of intentionality, a deliberate act designed perhaps to obscure, to mock, or to ritualize. The scene suggested not a random act of violence, but one executed with a disturbing degree of planning and control, potentially by someone familiar with the remote environment and its inherent dangers. The single rescue blanket strip, found snagged on the cholla spines, became the immediate focus of laboratory analysis. Experts examined its material composition, its precise dimensions, and the manner in which it had been separated from a larger piece. Crucially, microscopic examination revealed minute rope fiber residue along the cut edge of the strip. This was an immediate and significant development. The presence of rope fibers suggested a tool beyond a simple knife or shears, implying a cutting method that involved friction or contact with a fibrous material. A seasoned knot-tying instructor, often consulted in cases involving specialized outdoor equipment, provided critical context. They explained the common applications of rescue blankets and ropes in remote, river-adjacent environments, highlighting how such fibers could transfer during cutting or handling. The residue was not incidental. It pointed to a specific interaction, a tool or even a method used by the perpetrator. This detail shifted the investigation from general wilderness knowledge to a more specialized understanding of canyon operations. Investigators broadened their search, looking for any past incidents, reports, or patterns within the region that involved the unique combination of reflective tape, rescue blankets, or specific types of ropes, hoping to connect this isolated, horrific act to a known individual or group. The unforgiving Arizona wilderness, which had held Sloane Ibarra's secrets for so long, proved itself capable of both concealment and revelation. Months after the discovery of Sloane's remains, as the new investigation meticulously pieced together the fragments of evidence, nature intervened once more. The region entered its annual monsoon season, bringing with it torrential downpours that transformed the arid landscape. Flash floods surged through the dry washes and side canyons, powerful torrents of water carving new channels and dislodging ancient debris. A hydrologist consulted on the case explained how these sudden immense flows could scour canyon floors, exposing what had been buried for years beneath layers of sediment and rock. During one such powerful monsoon runoff event, the very alcove where Sloane's body had been found underwent significant alteration. The force of the water dislodged the dense, thorny nest of cholla spines that had so meticulously encased her. As the floodwaters receded, leaving behind a reshaped landscape, investigators revisited the site for any further clues that might have been uncovered. What they found, amidst the disturbed earth and scattered cactus fragments, was a critical breakthrough. Embedded within a newly exposed section of the dislodged cholla mass, previously unseen, were several lengths of degraded rope. Crucially, these ropes featured a series of knots. A knot-tying instructor, brought in to examine the specific configurations, immediately identified them as highly specialized. These were not common knots. They were intricate, robust designs, specifically knots identical to those used by river guides operating vessels along the Colorado River. The revelation was immediate and profound. It narrowed the focus of the investigation dramatically, shifting it from a general search within the vast wilderness to a targeted inquiry within the close-knit, specialized community of river operators. The rope fiber residue found on the rescue blanket strip now had a definitive context. Investigators immediately turned their attention to the detailed records of river activity. They scrutinized the out-of-season permit logs, a registry of vessels authorized to traverse the Colorado River during periods when traffic was typically restricted. The specialized knots pointed directly to someone with intimate knowledge of river operations, and the permit logs provided a finite list of individuals who might have been in the area during the time of Sloane's disappearance. The painstaking cross-referencing of these logs, combined with the unique knot identification, quickly helped to narrow the suspects to a specific, unauthorized vessel, a rogue skiff operating outside of official channels. The canyon had finally relinquished its most vital secret, pointing directly towards a perpetrator hidden within the very system designed to navigate its depths. The identification of the rogue skiff, an unregistered vessel operating outside the parameters of authorized river traffic, provided the final, critical piece of the puzzle. Investigators, armed with the precise dates from the out-of-season permit log and the unique identifier of the vessel, moved swiftly to trace its ownership and recent movements. The specialized knots, confirmed by experts to be the exclusive domain of experienced river guides, narrowed the suspect pool significantly. Through meticulous cross-referencing of local records, past employment histories within the guiding community, and surveillance, authorities soon identified the operator of the rogue skiff, a former river guide with a history of disciplinary issues and unauthorized canyon excursions. The apprehension was swift and decisive, bringing an end to 7 years of agonizing uncertainty. With the suspect in custody, the chilling details of Sloane Ibarra's final moments began to emerge. The perpetrator, intimately familiar with the remote side canyons and the unforgiving terrain, had used their knowledge to commit and conceal the crime. The rescue blanket strip, found snagged on the cholla spines, was confirmed to be standard gear carried on river skiffs, explaining its presence and the rope fiber residue from the tools used to cut it. The specialized knots, once a haunting enigma, now simply pointed to the perpetrator's profession. The macabre scene of Sloane's body, deliberately woven into the dense, barbed cholla cactus, was a calculated act of concealment, designed to deter discovery and inflict a final, grotesque indignity. The reflective tape covering her eyes, a detail that had baffled investigators, was revealed to be an act of chilling symbolism, a deliberate attempt to obscure her gaze from the world, or perhaps from the perpetrator's own conscience. Justice, though long delayed, finally began its course, with charges swiftly brought against the accused. For Sloane Ibarra's family, the resolution brought a bittersweet, devastating closure. The agony of the unknown was replaced by a gruesome, undeniable truth. While the questions of who and how were finally answered, the profound, unanswerable question of why such a heinous act was committed continued to haunt them. Sloane's vibrant memory, once overshadowed by the mystery of her disappearance, could now be honored with the knowledge that her tormentor had been brought to account. The vast, indifferent canyon, which had swallowed her whole, had, in the end, reluctantly surrendered its secrets, a testament to the relentless pursuit of justice and the enduring power of nature to reveal what man seeks to hide.